What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday to the Service Alliance community. I hope everybody's doing good out there. I'm back on my old computer, so the picture quality is not as good this morning, so I apologize. But as always, I got Miss Ward with me. How you doing, Miss Ward?
I'm phenomenal. In fact, I'm spectacular.
There you go. There you go. It's gonna be a good Friday, everybody. Hopefully everybody's got a fun-filled weekend planned. Hopefully, you got some plans to spend some time with family and get away from the grind for a little bit and enjoy the fruits of your labor. We got Garrison Howard checking in this morning. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us. We got Adam checking in. Nice to see you, brother. Hope you're having a great day. Um, but we're going to get into some discussion today about something we've talked about before, but we want to dive into a little more. Obviously, if you have questions or comments or whatever, make sure to drop them in the comments down below. But a few years back, Miss Ward turned me on to a book, and I heard her talk about it on her channel, and I just hadn't picked it up, hadn't read it yet. But after I read it, it immediately became one of my favorite books, and I saw why she loved this book so much. The book is Atomic Habits, and for me, it was a game changer. Miss Ward, what? I know this is one of your favorite books too. What makes this book so special and stand out to you so much as one of your favorite books?
Well, the thing I love about it, because the author, James Clear, when you understand his story about how he rebuilt his life after traumatic experiences, and just by taking real small steps to get to a goal. I think a lot what I love about the book is that you can take any goal, whether it's finance, business, just life, just health, whatever, and you can apply atomic habits. And he has the scientific studies behind it. He gives great examples of just people taking things and really making small steps and developing compound interest and having long lasting results. I think the hardest thing is really learning how to develop a positive habit and to maintain it. And that's what I love about that book. It teaches you that.
I couldn't agree more. And for somebody like me, that I'm often overwhelmed by the thought of uh, applying this new thing or starting this new habit into my life or whatever. The way that he breaks it down, especially in chapter one, on how it's all about getting 1% better each day. And for those of you that haven't read the book, an atomic habit is a habit where you're making small incremental changes every single day. Um, and one of the things he talks about is getting 1% better and how it 365 days a year, each day you get 1% better. At the end of the year, you're 37% better. There it is. And it's tiny changes like that. And one thing that I like is um, how he compares it to, or uses the example of working out. And he talks about how the first day, it's okay if you just get dressed to go to the gym and never even pull out of your driveway. That 1% change, you made a small little step. The next day, you get dressed ready for the gym. You get 1% better. You drive to the gym. And now, obviously, most people aren't going to take it to that extreme. You're probably going to actually go to the gym, walk on the treadmill a little bit, whatever. But it's all about realizing that that small little change you make today, that 1% better you get today, compounds over time. And over time, you see dramatic changes. But we didn't pray up, Miss Ward. Would you mind doing us the honors, and
Sure,
we'll dig
sure.
into this more? I'll get carried away.
Lord, thank you for allowing us to rise this morning. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to take our first breath. to the rest of our day. Thank you for clearing our minds, our spirits, and our hearts so that we can be a blank canvas to discover the blessings that you have for us. Thank you for allowing us to go out and be of service to our communities, our customers, our families, and our friends. Lord, thank you for not only giving us the vision, but the ability to create the vision and to make it plain. Lord, thank you for blessing us in all that we do. Amen.
Amen. Got a couple people checking in at our boy EJ Magic Mike in the house. Good morning. We're winning today, EJ. We're trying our best, buddy. We're going to win even if it kills us. We got Miss Ibsen checking in. Good morning. She said she is reading Atomic Habits now, and she loves it. Got Mr. Dr. Dan, the other half of the Ibsen crew. Good morning, sir. And I might be butchering their last name. It might be Ibsen or I'm not sure, but I just call him Dr. Dan, so that's all I need to know. But before we dive into the atomic habits talk we're already getting into, I wanted to encourage you guys this morning to be thankful, because I've been going through some tough times here lately, and season of just uncertainty and things like that. And I had somewhat of a breakdown slash revelation yesterday, and I woke up today extremely thankful, thankful for my friends, thankful for my family, thankful for people in my life that call me on my bullshit, and you know who you are, and just thankful that I have people in my corner, and uh, whether it's business partners, life partners, whatever. Just be thankful. So make sure today to be extra thankful. As we get into these atomic habits, one of the things that I'd like to talk about is the he talks about in the book about how goals are great and goals are fine, but the systems that get you to the goals are more important. And in the Service Alliance community, we're always talking about systems. We're always talking about standard operating procedures, systems in your business, different things like that. But when you think about your life, and your life is just a bunch of different habits that you have that 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 are just natural instincts. When I was a smoker, it was a natural instinct as soon as I finished eating to go have a cigarette. I didn't have to think about it. It was just something I did. And on the reverse side of what we were talking about with the 1% better, if you get 1% worse every day, guess what? At the end of the year, you're going to be 37% worse. So it works both ways. And unfortunately for us, or unfortunately for me, and I think I can speak for most people, it's very easy to get 1% worse each day. It takes a little bit of effort to get 1% better each day. But hang on, we got Mr. Saul checking in. Buenos dias. Oh, he's dropping some Spanish, and I'm gonna butcher this. What what a beautiful day. What a beautiful day, God. ESO. I don't know ESO. Beautiful day God gave us, maybe? I don't know. I butchered that one, Saul. Forgive me, brother. EJ said, I'm now 2 weeks into a new habit of running 2 miles in the morning with my son. Good for you, buddy. Um, Saul said, that's right, TK. Be thankful for what God has given you and the things He's given you that you didn't know He gave you. Amen, brother. Okay. So that means created. So he said, good morning. What a beautiful day God has created. Okay. Gotcha. That's the TK translation. I could very well have butchered that. But Miss Moore, what are your thoughts on that as far as the systems go? Because I know you're a very systematic person. I know you have systems in everything in your life, your business, your personal life. Everything you do is systematic. Can you expand on that a little bit as far as goals and systems and the difference between the two, and how the atomic habits can help you implement those systems in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. I did an experiment lately of trying to walk through life without systems. Let's just say it was quite interesting because, somebody had a comment, associate of mine had a comment about me being rigid or something. I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to be buck wild and just not have any systems. I'm going to do this for 72 hours. You talking about like, this is what I tell people. People think that I'm so strict and I'm this and I'm that. I'm worse than anybody, which is why I have the systems. Like I it's like I couldn't stand myself. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I think it's important for people to understand you have to find the systems that work for you. And the beautiful thing about Atomic Habits, it starts you off and gives you a great framework, but it allows you to dig into other areas of specialty. So, like for instance, I was listening to something about autography this morning. And autography has to do with fasting for an 18-hour period or long enough for your body to heal itself. So, what systems can I put in place so I can have that 18 6-hour intermittent fasting window? Now, of course, that's something you can't initially do for some people. You got to work your way up to it. The beautiful thing about Atomic Habits is Atomic Habits allows you to understand that you don't get it all the first time, that you work your way up to it, and that you should give yourself grace. I think that when it comes to business, a lot of times people look at others of us that they think are successful and they don't understand the failures you have to even get to that point where you're disciplined enough to stay on systems. You follow me? So I think that a lot of people look at what they think is the end result. Like right now, you're not at your end result. I'm not at mine. We're constantly growing. And then even when we're growing, there are times when we revert or slide back because that's called being human. The beautiful part about Atomic Habits is that if you follow the process, just like I talk about with the 12-week year program, you get measurable results. A lot of times people do systems or they do something and they never measure it, or they get frustrated because they don't see the growth. The thing about Atomic Habits, he really talks about and harps on compound interest a lot. You're not going to see the results immediately. And the problem with being human beings is we have an instant gratification problem, particularly here in America. We don't want the delayed gratification. We want something now. The beautiful thing about Atomic Habits, it gives you a structure so that you can build upon that. And you
Amen.
can actually measure at the same time. Like with me, there's certain things I can do and I feel the effect the next day. The next day. So this is why taking the books, the foundational books that we're always talking about, Atomic Habits, being one of them, and just starting to read those books. And like prime example, I'm audible.com, but I have the hard copy because I learned from somebody that if you listen to audible.com, like me, I listen to Atomic Habits. I listen to Brian Tracy. There are certain books I listen to every week and I get something every time. But you got to find a way that you learn, and you got to invest in that. Because as human beings, we are meant to grow and change. And whenever you're not using your mental muscles, just like your regular muscles, you're not growing and expanding, and they actually are dying off. So you really want to invest in that. That's why when you see you guys look at certain things and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I can't get this. Well, it's not that you're stupid. Yes, I use that word. It just means that you're not utilizing all those God-given gifts. A lot of the answers in your business comes from reading books and applying them. You don't have to be perfect, but when you read something and when you're exposed, this is why I'm one of those people, I believe in immersion. You have to immerse yourself in something to really get it. And that's why I'm
Yep.
always hands-on and 99% of what I do. Like right now, I just told TK I'm in Atlanta. I'm right here at my alma mater, which is Clark Atlanta University. And as soon as we finish this, I'm going to go up in there and take care of some business. But what I'm saying is, I'm all about learning at all times. I'm actually going to be grabbing some transcripts because I'm working on a master's and some other things because I believe in always learning. But that wasn't something I was raised with. It's not something that I was supported in. It's just that I'm very clear that I'm better. The more I stretch myself, that's, the better Miss Ward can be. That's something I committed myself to because I refuse to become ignorant and fall back in time. And the reason I'm able to do that is right here. This book here. This book right here. I'm telling you.
Yep. I listened to Miss Ward talk about this book for quite some time, and I didn't know what it was about, to be honest with you, because I never read a book that broke things down so simplistically and made it so simple that anybody could get started. And with that being said, as we get into this, I want to challenge you guys. I want to challenge you, whatever your habit is, whether it's breaking a bad habit or starting a new habit. I want to challenge each of you to try to do something today. Start today to get 1% better in an area of your life. Maybe one thing that you haven't been doing is reading. We're talking about reading books. Maybe you haven't been reading as much as you should be, or maybe you're not reading at all. Start today. Read for 10 minutes. 10 minutes a day. And then tomorrow, read for 15 minutes. And then the next day, read for 20 minutes. And as you marginally increase each day, I just recently got back into the gym, and I knew from the jump that if I go in there and I try to do an hour, 2 hours in the gym, I'm gonna burn myself out and not want to go. So the first day I went in there, I walked on a treadmill for, I think it was 15 minutes. I did a little quick 20-minute workout, like just no big weights or nothing, just a quick stuff. And then that was it. I was maybe there for 45 minutes total. Because I know that if I just jump in and I try to go hard and burn myself out, that's not the way to do it. It's small little increases that make big changes. I love the illustration that James Cleary uses in the book with the ice cube. He said, if you take an ice cube and you put it in a controlled temperature where you can control the temperature, and you increase the temperature of that room from 1 degree, and then another degree, and another degree, that ice cube is going to stay the same all the way up until 32 degrees. And then once that 32 degrees hits, that's a breaking point. That's a monumental step for that ice because that ice is going to start to melt. And then as it raises, it's going to change more and more and more. And I love that illustration because it kind of shows, if you go to the gym every day, you're not going to just all of a sudden be skinny and ripped and strong. But if you stick to it over time, the results will show. You've seen these transformation videos of people that have gone from, hundreds and hundreds of pounds overweight. And now they're this, fit, skinny person. That didn't happen overnight. It happened with small incremental changes over a long time. So I want to challenge each of you to do something. Choose what your thing is today. It doesn't have to be business related. It's not a bad idea. Maybe you were in our recent masterminds and you've been slacking off on those KPIs. Not calling anybody out, but I know it happens. Maybe you haven't done any KPIs this entire year yet. We'll start today. Get 1% better. Get your gross sales down into a spreadsheet today. That's a good place to start. Your gross sales and your completed calls. At least you can know your average per call off those two numbers. Just those two numbers, you can know your average per call. Your gross sales, your completed calls. There you go. So whatever your thing is, let us know. If you do something and you want to let the community know, put the hashtag Atomic Habits Challenge because I want to do a real challenge out of this. If you're trying to get incrementally better and start a new habit or break an old habit, we want to support you in that. We got a few new face here popping up. So he's a long time listener. First time on the live, Armando Seda. I hope I didn't butcher that last name, buddy. But we also got our buddy Orkin. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining us. Um, and what did we have? We had another comment that I missed. Oh yeah. Saul said Miss Ward would have said it in four language next time. Miss Ward read it. Yeah, you're probably right. I'll give you another example of this atomic habits thing. My Spanish lessons are a perfect example of it. I wanted to work on Spanish, and I have tried for years and years. And after I read the book Atomic Habits, one of the first things that I decided to do was start doing my Spanish lessons. And I knew based off of the book that I needed to start small. So I would do 5 minutes every morning. Every morning, 5 minutes of Spanish. It just became part of my routine. And now, 385, I think 386 days later, my morning Spanish lesson has become a part of my life. I do it every single day. Not to say that I never miss it. Every once in a while, I'll miss a morning or miss a day just because life happens or whatever. But it became part of my life, became part of my routine. I don't even think about it anymore, to be honest with you. I literally wake up, I get my coffee, I say hello, good morning to my wife, good morning to my kids, and I go do my Spanish lesson. I'm not going to tell you where I do it because it's a top secret thing, but there's a sink and a shower in there as well, and that's where I do it, and I'm not ashamed of it. But whatever thing you have to do to make it part of your life. Um, Now we all know, Miss Moore. We all know that there's all sorts of tips and stuff in the video. Is there anything for you that's maybe not in the book, but you feel that people should kind of know as far as something like something you got from Atomic Habits, but maybe not as necessarily in the book, but it's kind of just came about because of you implementing this in your life?
You know, what's not in the book is about the time you need to spend alone. I think that for me, what I've gotten from this is really a lot of solace of spending time alone. Like I was thinking about this actually yesterday about how appliance repair is high stress. It really is. When you really are, particularly when you start out and you're learning and you don't come from it. So you got to learn the technical piece. You got to learn how to run a business. You're learning a number of things. And what I found is that um, in order to do anything, you got to sit still. And that's not in the book, but you got to really sit still because what I'm finding is, you know, I got into appliance repair because I wanted a cash flowing business that I could take the money and invest in. And anybody that knows me knows that's exactly why I got in because I wanted to be able to be in a business that I could turn high dollars and take that money and invest in other things and retirement and things of that nature because that's how my mind works. So when you're running after that dollar and you're focusing on that, and you're doing what you got to do to get there, there's a lot of stuff that gets left behind. So what I learned from Atomic Habits is I can put so many plans in place. I can put so many structures in place and so many systems. But if I don't have the good health and the clear mind and the stamina to do it because I'm burnt out, then I'm no good.
Mm,
That's not in the book.
mm,
And so that's why when I
so
hear
true.
people talk about being slow and this and that, um, a lot of times that's a time of reflection and of internal growth because it's a lot of things you don't see when you're running and gunning. And there are parts of you that are actually falling apart and you don't even know it because you're so used to just getting up and getting it done. Because that's how I'm built. You know,
Yeah,
even when I was a W
yeah,
2 and in corporate America and all this other stuff, I was known for never letting people down, but I was letting myself down. So now you don't see me around as much because I'm really doing the solitude and really focusing on rebuilding myself from the inside out so that I can be the best person I could be. And, you know, that's not in the book,
yeah.
but that's what I got from it.
That, that's beautiful. And I can 100% tell you guys that if you start to take some quiet time, there's so much noise in our lives. There's so much constant, the social media, the news, the everything in our lives, drama here, drama there, upset customers, got to get this done, got to get that done. If you do not take some time to just be still, you can call it prayer time, you can call it meditation time. I don't, I'll be honest with you, in my quiet time, I'm not praying. You could call it meditating, but I'm just clearing my head. Turn the phone off, turn everything off. Maybe put on some light, some soothing music, and just allow your brain to rest. It is such a powerful thing. And while we're talking about rest, this is something else that I highly recommend. Make sure you're getting enough sleep. There's nothing that'll burn you out worse than lack of sleep. I know because I've been guilty of it many times. I've been guilty of staying up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, getting up at 6 o'clock, running off of 4 hours of sleep. That's no way to stay healthy and stay energized and stay in the game. I'm not saying you have to get the full 8, but I'm saying at least try to get 6 or 7 because it's going to make your day better. Um, and I like to start my day off with some quiet time. I like to start my day off with learning something. That's why I do my Spanish lesson every morning, even if it's just a quick 5 minute lesson. Sometimes you're busy, so you just do what you got to do. But your morning habits, and this is something that I've learned over time. Your morning habits set the tone for the day. If you wake up and you roll out of bed and you jump out of bed and you're feet on the floor, running, trying to get everything done right out the gate, man, those are the worst days for me. I am miserable those days. But when you take that time in the morning to prepare yourself, and there still might be some curveballs thrown at you. There still might be some crazy stuff that comes your way, but you're mentally prepared for those hurdles. You're mentally prepared for those roadblocks for that day. But when you just hit the floor running and you don't take any time to get your day going right, you're just constantly burnout. And that is no place to be, folks. I've been there. I'm sure Miss Ward's been there. And I imagine most of you guys have been there. So if you're going to be working on stuff, we want to encourage you, whether it's through private message, Facebook, but use the hashtag Atomic Habits Challenge. We want to see people start to implement these things that have changed our lives into their lives. Um, so if you're doing those types of stuff, we would love to hear about it. We appreciate you guys tuning in this morning. We're going to wrap things up. You got any closing thoughts or closing statements, Miss Ward, before we head out of here?
The last thing I really want to say is that I really want people to understand you cannot make cognizant long range plans burnt out. You have to be rested mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and otherwise. The reason we busting our butt out here is to stack the dollars so we can breathe for a moment to see clearly. And I think that a lot of us are in survival mode for the next day, the next week, the next month. I really want people to get out of that. And I really want you to look long term, because you can't make good long term decisions if you're not rested. Because what's going to be the front of your mind is the fires you put out. And what needs to be in the front of your mind is like a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years ago from now, retirement. What is the long range plan?
Yeah.
Because we're all intelligent, we're all smart, and we all have God given gifts. And you really, I see people out here saying, I need a SEO, I need this, I need that. And they really not going back and dealing with the original issue, which is them. But that's all I got for y'all. I don't know where TK went, but I want everybody to have a great day. Uh-oh, he's back. I lost you. I was worried, man. I thought I was going to have to say goodnight without you. Goodbye.
I was literally clicking on a comment and it booted me out of the stream. I don't even know what happened. happen. Sorry about that. But yeah, thank you for that, Miss Ward, and please take this to heart because what Miss Ward's saying is so true. Being burnt out, we're ramping up for the summer right now, and me and my business partner are going to 4-day weeks, and that seems completely backwards. You probably hear that and you say, "You guys are crazy," but we know that during these summer hours, it's our time to spend time with our family. It's our time to have those 3-day weekends. And thank God that we have a team that can take care of things. I can work a 4-day week in the summer because I have built systems and operations into a business where I can afford to step away, where my partner can afford to step away. So that's what I want for you guys. And if you're not there yet, just keep pushing. Get 1% better today. Ask God this morning, say, God, what is the habit you want me to put into my life? And what habit in my life do you want me to get rid of? Because you can tackle both at the same time. Get 1% better each day and start to chunk away at those bad habits in your life. Because those bad habits will keep you, trust me, someone who's struggled with some vices in my life, those bad habits will keep you from everything that God wants you to have and be and everything else. And we'll get into identity next week. Identity is a huge part of this. He talks a lot about identity and visualizing who you want to be. So next week, we're probably going to chat about that some. But I want to encourage you guys to have an awesome weekend this weekend. Take some time off, spend some time with your family, do something nice for somebody. As always, if you haven't been over to Solid Steps for Wealth, make sure you go subscribe there. If you haven't been over to the servicealliancegroup.com, make sure you go over there and sign up for an all access membership. And we will catch you guys next week. Peace.